Well, good afternoon, and here's another presentation from Virtualize Everything. We're going to look at setting up our Nextcloud container with the Cloudflare tunnel so we can access this through any router or anywhere and even have it change IP addresses in a secure manner that's protected by Cloudflare. This is a really nice deployment because it doesn't require any router configuration. So just so I can keep some of my own personal information secure, and I was able to demonstrate this more easily, we're going to do the Cloudflare configuration as more of a slideshow where I can show you what I went through, where I did it, and so on. And then we're going to jump over to video elements for the Nextcloud configuration and the container creation and configuration inside of Proxmox. So the first thing we're going to need to do after we access our Cloudflare account by going to cloudflare.com is we're going to be presented with this screen here. And we need to move over a domain or purchase a domain. This tutorial is going to show you basically how I moved over the domain name on the Cloudflare side. My domain came over from GoDaddy, and this is going to be a little bit different if you use other domain provider or registers rather. So the first thing after we clicked on the add site button here is going to be to select a plan. Now I chose to select the free plan here, and you can kind of see the difference between the different plans. And now after I clicked on free, I had given it my domain name here when I added it, and it pulled in the DNS record, and you can kind of see how mine were set up previous. Now, I needed to go to GoDaddy, log in, and change the name server. So you can see that I had to remove my two name servers and add my name servers. Now, here on GoDaddy, it was a little bit different. Once I hit Manage DNS, I actually had to go to a separate tab to change the servers themselves. So then I was asked to configure a step, and we're going to look at a couple of these steps and look at the configurations I put in just in a second here. So I pressed Get Started, and the first thing I was asked is if I wanted to automatically rewrite HTTPS. My understanding is this creates a new certificate and adds a certificate for all of our HTTPS traffic. Now, as I'm using the self-signed certificate, this was definitely a yes. Then I was asked if I always wanted to use HTTPS, and I definitely did as well. Then this is supposed to be for speeding up page load times and whatnot, so I left it on and hit save. And then I clicked on summary, and I saved everything. So that gave me this site, and you can see that my domain name here is active. It's up and working and ready to be used. So I could move on to the next part of the process, which was here. I was going to click on Zero Trust, and once I clicked on Zero Trust, that gave me this screen. And here I needed to click on Access, I believe. Yep, so Access, and then Tunnels. And once again, I had to choose another plan. Fear not, these plans are free as well, or have a free option as well. So here's what the plans look like, and I chose the free plan. So I hit Select Plan right here. And now I needed to create a tunnel. I did this by clicking Create Tunnel, and I entered my tunnel name. Now this is kind of just like a nickname. It's just a name so you can easily identify it, and I called mine Nextcloud Video or Next Video. And then I hit Save Tunnel right here. Now here I needed to set up my tunnel process, and I'll show you that right now in a clip where we used the Debian here installation inside of a container on our Proxmox server. Okay, so now that we got Cloudflare set up and we've got to our tunnel screen, it's time to actually install the tunnel. And today I thought we'd actually do this with the Debian directions on an Ubuntu container inside of Proxmox. We could definitely do it with Docker, and there's some other tutorials on YouTube about doing it with Docker. I might even do it with Docker here in the future. But I thought since the website and everything else we were looking to post was in a container, just like our Nextcloud and other things are in containers in LXC on Proxmox, I thought it would be a good idea to just do it in another container. from my understanding, this will work fine because it has access to the entire network that my containers are on. So to do that, we're here at the Proxmox web interface, and I'm going to click Create CT. I'm going to call it Cloudflare, and I think I'll put tunnel. And we're going to enter a password here. Unprivileged, nested. We're going to do this in Ubuntu. 8 gigs should be fine. 1 CPU, 512 memory. Network, we'll give it DHCP. It should not matter. So this will create our container so that we can go ahead and set up our tunnel. All right, so our container is made, and here it is. Let's start it. Open a console, and let's blow the console up for you. We'll log in with root and the password we set up. As always, the first thing we're going to do is make update apt upgrade -y. All right, so now let's take a look at installing these packages. So when you're going through and getting ready to do your Cloudflare, Cloudflare is going to give you all of your commands as you're going through the process of the tunnel. So when you're going through the process of creating your tunnel, Cloudflare is going to give you the commands. The command we're going to run is going to look similar to this. Here at the end, at the final part, the service install, you're going to have a token key. I've deleted my token key because, well, security a little bit. And it's actually kind of funny. It's security for you guys that might attempt to use it because it's actually going to link to my dashboard and I'll be able to map things to it. So, but I deleted the code anyway, so nobody saw it and nobody was fooled. But you're definitely going to have a token code at the end of yours. So I'm going to go ahead, run this command on my system, and install Cloudflare Tunnel. And then I'll probably be back into the PowerPoint presentation to look at how the tunnel and look at configuring the tunnel setup. Now that we had our tunnel set up and configured, you can see that it says that it's healthy. So with a healthy tunnel, we were ready to move on to the next step of the process. So I clicked on next video here, and I needed to click on configure. Once we clicked on configure, overview will bring up that same place where we need to click around to install our tunnel. So we needed to go over and click on the tab called public hostname and click add public hostname. Add public hostname gave us this drop down right here. So I chose not to make a path, but to make a subdomain. So my URL will be next.shellphotos.com, and I'm passing HTTPS traffic through from Nextcloud, and my IP address that was set up from my turnkey Nextcloud container was 192.168.6.55. Now this will be the way that screen looks by default. So I needed to click on additional settings here, and I needed to come down and click no TLS verification and enable it, just like I did here. That's because we're using a HTTPS self-signed certificate. So if it attempts to verify it, it's going to fail and nothing is going to work. All right, so we just finished setting up our Cloudflare tunnel and did all of our work on the Cloudflare website. So now let's go ahead and try loading Nextcloud here. And all right, so we can see that we're actually getting an error message, but we are communicating with the server. So this is a pretty good sign, but we're going to have to do a few more edits here inside of Nextcloud in order to get this working, because we didn't set up next.shellphotos.com as a trusted domain name when we did the creation of this container. If you remember right from that video, we went ahead and entered our IP address for the creation of this container. And I'll put a link up above here to that video if you haven't watched it. But it's one of the easiest ways to create Nextcloud or a Nextcloud installation inside of your Proxmox server. I think it took under 10 minutes entirely, and the video came out somewhere around 6 after I did a couple fast forwards. And I actually did the installation process real time. So anyways, enough advertising on an old video. Let's go back to our Proxmox web interface, and we're going to select our Nextcloud container that we created, and then we're going to hit console. And let's log in with root and the password that we set up during the installation of the container. Now we're going to have to navigate to a folder directory at var www nextcloud config, and we're going to use the cd command to do that. Now we can run ls and see that there's two different files inside of here. We're going to want to edit the config.php file, and we're going to do that with nano. So we're going to enter the command nano config.php. All right, so here you can see right here that we have the line of a trusted domain that we set up, which is 192.168.6.5. And if you remember right from the video, we configured all of that for our trusted domain. But we're going to have to add our new domain so that we can log in correctly. So we're going to enter 2, and we're going to kind of copy the beginnings of this line with an equal and a caret and another space and a comma or a single quote, and we're going to type in next.shellphotos.com, and we're going to continue to copy the end of it by finishing it off with a single quote and a comma, and then we can press Ctrl X and Y to save and exit. And then I like to do a reboot. So now the container has rebooted, and once it comes back alive, we should now be able to head over to our page where we were getting our error message, press refresh, and it looks like I might have a typo. So let's go ahead and just copy this time and head back to the console. So with our problems fixed and our console back up and running, we can press refresh again. And you can see we're confronted with our page and we're now logged in. Now I had been logged in previously, so it logged me back in. But if I wanted to do another login again, I could hit admin and I can log in, view files, and whatever other work I want to do on Nextcloud. So I thank you for watching this video from VE on how to set up a Cloudflare tunnel and get it working with Nextcloud, and hope to see you again.